There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.
Welcome to the call. Let's get right into it. Let's take a look at how the week went, what's going on, take a peek at just everything all around, and we'll be able to take a look and see what the conditions were like for us in the markets, and talk about GearBox, where we're going. There's a lot of enhancements, a lot of things we're looking to do to the product line, as many of you are aware. So let's talk a little bit about that and talk about what the goal is going into the future with this product. I'll tell you, let me share my screen in a minute here. I know you guys can't see. Let me just pull up a few more things. I really want to give you guys the vision kind of what's top priority, what's being worked on, and kind of an order, of things. So I'm going to open, go to Drive here. There we go. We're going to talk about GearBox 2022 plans, and we're going to talk about what's being done, where the testing's at on many of the things we're looking to do. We're going to talk about the markets. We're going to take a look here at all of the pairs and the one pair data, and we're going to discuss, what's changing, what's not. So let's take a look at the one pair data. As always, talking about the different pairs. As we've seen, JPY pairs have just become a complete terror. And due to that, there was only a few JPY pairs left that were in the category that we were going to trade, and that was Euro JPY and that was CHF JPY. And previously I had said that I really disliked JPY pairs because of their tendency to trend and do things like this. And we had talked about that when GearBox first came out back in 2020. We had eliminated many of these JPY pairs, but consistently Euro JPY had shown it could continue to perform, and CHF JPY had even shown that, but recently CHF JPY also blew an account on a $500 data account. So, CHF JPY and Euro JPY have now also been kicked into the list that is getting updated and be sent out shortly. There's a lot of data I wanted to share and look at and make sure that for all the enhancements and changes in the gear levels and where we put things, that everything was super fine-tuned, what was a worse pair, what wasn't. But yeah, the JPY pairs, they've just had to be eliminated from my trading style. I've never liked them. Any money I've ever lost using any form of counter trend strategy, reversal, cost averaging bot has been on a JPY pair. I've said this in past calls in the last 2 years. So yeah, I just avoid JPY pairs. I continue to refund these data accounts so we can continue to get data on them. But the truth is, I just think with these strategies that JPY pairs, maybe they're just not a thing. Maybe they're something I don't even continue to collect data on, because they should just probably be eliminated from your trading style completely. There's no reason to continue to gain data. When they trend, and they trend hard. And a lot of times that happens for different reasons within their political ecosystem, such as their ability to just not add any interest. over there to their systems. They're really just, their government is willing to let their currency go to crap before they pull the trigger, right? So they're willing to hold it, hold it to zero, and because of that, sometimes that means it's going to trend, and when it trends, you don't want to be in it. But let's take a look. Let me see if you guys have some questions so far. No questions so far, I see over here. All right, so we'll go back and let's take a look and let's talk into 2022 plans. So these are different things that we are working on. So, you know, I'm gonna show you this. So let's first talk about it. Manager enhancements based on real-time data. This is something that's going to be something for GearBox Manager Pro, and it'll have an option to turn off real-time data and use regular if you like the regular entries as well. But in the Pro version of GearBox Manager, it is going to have this feature that'll also only work with GearBox Pro. So there will be GearBox and GearBox Pro, and GearBox Manager and GearBox Manager Pro. You're going to see Pro versions coming out soon, and the Pro versions will have more advanced and sophisticated features. The reason for this is those users who like to do more advanced things, we want to differentiate which version of GearBox they're using, Pro or regular. If they're using Pro, chances are they are doing their own aggressive things, their own nature, and they have to take responsibility for their using of the product. So let's work on creating a real-time correlation filter. This is something that we update every 2 weeks currently, is the correlation data on the VPSs to make sure that the markets, the conditions, what you're getting is, you know, just like that. We also want to work on a larger account multiplier. This is a GearBox Pro thing. A large account multiplier, the easiest way I can explain it to you is if you had a 0.01 starting lot size, GearBox goes 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, right? Well, when you get into a larger account, let's say a $10,000 account, it goes 0.10, 0.12, 0.14. It doesn't go 0.10, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So a larger account multiplier would be to give a large account a similar effect to a small account, which sometimes larger accounts are able to get out a drawdown sooner. They also, if they got stuck in a JPY trending move like that, could definitely incur more risk. So, you know, with the larger account multiplier, we will recommend, if you are using it, that you use a 0.01 per $5,000 balance. But that'll be a GearBox Pro feature. Again, these are things we are working on. We want to work on creating trailing stop losses above level 0 and 1. Right? That's something we want to work on for all gearboxes. Now, there's some downsides to this. We have to be very specific with how we allow those settings to be set, because everything's based on data and performance, because sometimes GearBox needs the gap to go for the full big moves it chases. Sometimes GearBox is chasing a 200 pip move, and a trailing stop loss is going to take you out of the game with like 20 pips. And that move is going to happen, but you would have just had to hold it. So we also have to investigate if this is even necessary, or if instead of a trailing stop loss, we just secure, we could still do it, just not trail it aggressively. The point today is we have to understand the data. So this is one of those ones that we're playing with, but max level closeout. So this is a risk management feature. It'll be a part of GearBox Pro, not regular GearBox. And what this means is, let's say you take a trade on GBP NZD, and you enter on level 7, let's say, and you go, if this thing even goes to level 9, close the trades, right? So instead of an equity protector on the whole account, you're just setting an equity protector based on levels, or level, or max gear closeout, max level, whatever you want to call it. You're setting where you would like it to close those trades if a let's say a sequence goes against you, and we know a level 7 to 9 is it's a decent big move. You may just say close them out and don't even continue. If something trends against you. So that's a risk management feature for GearBox Pro, something for those more advanced users. This is not as important right now, but a swap calculation, something we're looking into. As well, here in 2022, we're going to be doing a lot more testing on pairs outside of Forex majors and minors, meaning U.S. indices, stocks, maybe golds. We're going to be playing a lot cryptos. Key is we want to find some indice and metal settings. Predicted TP and SL indicators. We're working on getting some updates to that. Enter trade now button. If wanting to get in a sequence before it fully hits your designated gear level, you have in your settings. So these are GearBox Pro features again, because they're more advanced features. We don't want to give to the normal person, but enter trade now button is going to basically mean it's going to be on your UI of your GearBox, and it's going to say when you maybe, let's say, you entered maybe GU on 5 on swing, right? And you're on 4 in the Ghost server, but you think it's about to reverse. You can go deploy and hit enter trade now, and it'll deploy your level 5 right then and there and start the sequence. Next level deployment, some people have asked for this because sometimes very similar. You're in like a 8 or 9 trade, and you see you're close to taking 10, but it just hasn't taken it yet, but you want to take it. Next level deployment button. A more aggressive hedging engine that can be turned on and off. This is a GearBox Pro feature. These are things we're heavily advancing and working on, all of these things on your list. Simulator has been moved back a priority list, but still plans in future. The reason the simulator has been moved to the back of the list is we still have our handy dandy Excel risk calculator. And that is all you need to know and understand to understand your risk and what can actually happen. It wouldn't be a full back test, but it can tell you what you can truly handle, and that in itself is a back test if you understand the way these markets move. Resetting range and range multiplier on first real trade entry. That's resetting range and range multiplier on first real trade entry. So I already have this file in my hands. You've actually seen this feature in your new rollout of GearBox Manager. It is not in GearBox. This feature will not turn on. It does not work right now for you, but some of you maybe have seen it. This will be a GearBox Pro feature. It is not going to be in regular GearBox, so it'll be coming out of your manager and going into GearBox Manager Pro. But resetting range and range multiplier on first real trade entry. This right here is a cool feature and a dangerous feature too. That's why we're also adding max level closeout. But what this would do is essentially, let's say you take a level 7 trade on GBP USD. Well, you know that the amount of pips between 7 and 8 is huge because of that range multiplier. It's not another 21 pips. What if it reset? What if now on that range multiplier, okay, you enter on 6, or you entered on 7, excuse me, you entered on 7, and now instead of going 150 pips before it takes the next level, what if just 21 pips later it took another level? What if 35 pips later it took another level, right? The reason I tell you this is because it would allow you to get out of a trade much sooner and to make more profit with potentially less risk, a lot less risk. But you could also have more risk. It depends on how you use it. In this case, the reason I say less risk is you would get out of trades sooner. You wouldn't have to hold trades as long to get the profit you're looking to get. For those more advanced scalper swing traders that want to get in the markets and try to get as much profit out of it as quick as possible. The only time it could go against you is if something trended right away against you, like just fell off a cliff and you just stacked a bunch of entries. Now again, you have other risk management features that we're adding for that, such as max level closeout. But that allows those more advanced features to be all in your wheelhouse. The other fun things we're working on for all GearBox versions. This was a Stanley idea, and I agree. Max base currency filter. Example, allow 3 base currency pairs max. So if Euro USD, Euro JPY, and Euro AUD are open, therefore if Euro NZD tries to open, it will not allow. Max quote currency filter, all GearBox versions as well. Allow 3 quote currencies max. Let's say CHF JPY, USD JPY, and Euro JPY are open. Do not allow AUD JPY to open a trade. And these are our GearBox 2022 plans, and I don't know if this doesn't excite you, what else will, because these are the coolest features I've ever seen, along with all the cool features we already have in GearBox. I mean, GearBox is just one of those EAs that will adapt to every bit of market conditions and survive throughout the next decade. So with that being said, I'm excited because we're just going to keep working, keep doing what we do. Let me take a look at the chat. Jock, I see what you're saying there, and I gotta tell you, yes, but the values aren't that severe to make a adjustment in my case, but you could adjust lot sizes based on it. That'd be something a more pro or advanced user would do. For the average person, I think the education for the little bit of difference that exists, I would say that it's just not, it would be too confusing to educate an average retail customer, which is, again, is most of my goal, is to help somebody quickly understand these things. But as an advanced user and understanding that, absolutely you can adjust that stuff all to your liking individually in each pair, changing the lot size to adjust based around, you know, the actual difference in pip value. But that is the main stuff, and then let's get into how the week ahead looks. All right, well, taking a look here at the week ahead, we have the French presidential election on Sunday, so that's going to affect some European news. We have Gov Macklin for Canada speaking here, BOC, on Monday. Tuesday, we have CPI AUD, trimmed mean. Wednesday, we have JPY with, you know, an outlook report from the BOJ. Thursday is USD advanced GDP. And then Friday, we have USD core PC price index. So we got a few red folder news, nothing too crazy, the kind of weeks that just fly by, and hopefully people are making some good profits. You know, one thing I do want to show you guys, you know, is I'm going to connect to my FX book soon to an account I'm managing, well, managing, I'd say consulting, on, of a client with $850,000 and growing, and started with about $650 at the beginning of the month. They've been making some hefty deposits. But that account is up 30 grand profit and going with GearBox. So, you know, I'm going to provide the results from that for people to track very soon. And with that being said, keep killing it. And let's, oh, one more question. Would still run CHF pairs and live accounts for being, Jock, I'm going to be honest, CHF pairs, also the reason to avoid them is the Swiss are unpredictable. Many brokers offer low leverage on CHF pairs right now too. due to the fact, and I'm gonna be honest, CHF just took a ton of profit from me on my live account, so I'm probably not. I'm I'll put it this way: all the stop losses this 10K account has hit here, this was CHF JPY. Here, this is CHF JPY. These are all CHFs. So, in understanding that, I'm avoiding the CHF JPY pairs going forward. They have proven to be, if we just sort, let's look at all the stop losses we've hit through time. Okay. Since starting GearBox, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 CHF JPY stop losses right there. We had an AUD JPY stop loss, which was on a worst performers, and I was still running it. GBP AUD, we hit one. We're up to 9 stop losses hit since starting. Okay, 10, 11. EuroCAD, which went to a worst performing list, right? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. USD CAD. $18, $19, $20, $21, $22, $23, $24. Oh, those were profits, so $23, $24. These were trailings. I must have trailed these. So actually count that back to 21. Let me reconfirm that these other ones were not profit. That hit that I counted, those were profit too. So actually we're back to 19. 19 stop losses since starting with GearBox. And that's about a year and a half right there. So yes, and that's on swing settings. So would Sniper have avoided many of those? Absolutely. Would Super Sniper have avoided a ton of those? Would have barely, but we also would have missed out on a lot of other profitable trades. So you have to choose your poison, but understand that I'd say all the CHF pairs. I mean, it's up to you, but JPY and Swiss franc both are just highly manipulated currency pairs by their government. Yeah, I agree with exactly that sentiment right there, Kalumela. I'm not sure how I say that, but that would be definitely a solid answer. If your brokers reduce margin, yes. And the second part, absolutely. I'm at a point where it's, you know, it's better to stick to swing on some of the more liquid and predictable pairs and throw away more of the manipulated pairs. You don't need to master all the pairs. When I first came out with GearBox, you know, the goal was, hey, let's create something that can trade all the pairs, and it does. It successfully does do it. But there are periods where there's major trending moves on some pairs, and it happens historically once or twice a year on many of them. And when you understand that historically once or twice a year some of these pairs are just going to abnormally trend, those aren't really your best friends, and they shouldn't be your best friends. To have a solid trading strategy, we don't need to master all of them. We need to master the ones that are going to pay us the most amount of money with the least amount of risk consistently. And that's the future of GearBox, especially with the adapts and the new features being made. At the same time, leaving out worse performers. Pete, my 20-year-old is unable to be on these calls, but he's been losing money. He makes a little, then loses it again. He needs help with this. Absolutely, Pete. The calls are all recorded as well. I'm not sure if you see that. If you click back to all rooms here, or actually it should be down here. Yeah, if you scroll down, actually, where you're at right now, you're sitting right here. And if you scroll down, you'll see right here that we have every recorded call since we launched GearBox in October of 2020. So there is a lot of amazing content, as well as the full AP Academy. But definitely would love to help him out, get him connected for sure. But there's a lot of amazing content in these calls, especially around the current market conditions. Jock, I would say, what about running best performers, swing, and the rest of the sniper? It's not a bad idea. You know, I would, if you want some action, best performers on swing, rest on sniper, and leave out all the worst performers. I mean, you could even put the worst performers in super sniper if you really want to, Jock, and just run even lower lot size. If you want to try and not miss out on those sniper trades, I mean, for a more advanced user, again, GearBox. My goal with GearBox is to always give and optimize it to work for the brand new person who doesn't understand it, to consistently make money and eliminate many of these more advanced things. But for the people who understand the product and understand trading, like yourself, Jock, GearBox is for you. It was designed, the reason we called it GearBox is because it's like driving a manual car. If you want to make changes and modifications and things, and you can do it. It's not an automatic. I mean, it can be. We'll give the automatic settings and we'll continue to optimize them, but ultimately the driver has so much control and power with this product. I mean, we've seen it with some of the results. I mean, there's customers that have been seeing 100% months. You're never going to probably see that. Just be completely honest with every one of you on this call, but there's customers who understand this product and they have FX books doing 100% a month. I saw 215% a month one time. This customer, a whole year of 100% months. It was mind blown. His drawdown was unstomachable, but when you know what you're doing and you got a little risk and money and capital to play with, you can do advanced things. So with that being said, though, I'm excited to continue to update and enhance this product, give you guys a product with more and more features, control, and user management. And can you share the MyFX book? You're talking about the one of the large account that I'm consulting. That one's going to be connected to FX book later today. I'll get it verified and shared with you, Jock. Not a problem. But with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Look forward to some more updates from me this weekend of exciting things. The one with 100% profit per month, yeah, that's Maximilian. If you go reach out to Max in the chat, Maximilian, he's in the chat. He was the one doing that. And remember, if you go do some crazy stuff like that, except that you could lose all your money, his trading strategy is basically put a quarter of what you can afford to lose in an account so that you have the other 75% of what you can afford to lose to save your ass. That's literally his trading strategy. Excuse my profanity, but it can work, but you have to have capital. Don't go trying to run settings like him or strategies like him and use all your capital. You need to have capital to cushion the account in case something goes crazy, or Ukraine war example. But again, he is doing it. It was insane to see, and it just shows you that those people who are able to drive the car can see a lot of success, and those who are wanting to just have a hands-free kind of experience, we're going to continue to optimize for that. But we had some interesting market conditions with the Ukraine war and unexpected events that definitely triggered a few losses for some people that normally you don't hit, especially if you were running, CHF JPY, which was on our list of pairs we could run. Now, something that was not on the list of pairs was Euro NZD. I know many people were in Euro NZD. They took some losses. Some people got in GBP NZD and AUD, took some losses because those things went 2,000 pips with no retracement. And I mean, these are very unexpected things that very commonly don't occur. But what I can tell you is, because that was all that occurred, was a few losses and people's accounts are intact. If they got into any of those pairs that had very large unexpected movements, GearBox did exactly what it was programmed to do, which is preserve capital, protect capital, manage risk, cut losses, and live to see another day. Most bots on the market, if they even went through one pair that had a 2,000 pip move, they would have toasted the whole account. So the reason I tell you that is it was designed to withstand very crazy moves like that, which what I would call being COVID moves. The last time we saw moves that big on many pairs was during COVID in March of 2020. And I built GearBox around those events because I was using another trading strategy and bot during those conditions, and I lost a large amount of money, but I believed in softwares, and I built GearBox to withstand exactly that and preserve majority of capital and maintain, and it did exactly that again when the Ukraine war started. So understand that this product's only going to continue to enhance, get better, but I was actually very pleased to see the results and how it was able to handle many of these pairs during these times. But with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and let's keep killing it.
There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading Forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.